Hello everybody, Disciple here with Overwatch Curios. Now, compositional synergy is super important when it comes to building a team for matches. Not only your particular hero selection, but how your hero selection also fits into the playstyle of your draft is something you should consider anytime that you're playing for the win, which should probably be always. Knowing what heroes best match the selection of your teammates can easily help you win more games, and in return hopefully climb the ladder of competitive Overwatch. And when it comes to building the perfect team and the perfect composition, it's often a good idea to start with the front line. Different tanks obviously have different playstyles and synergies, so knowing which heroes pair best together will allow your team to have a dedicated front line that works together and allows the rest of the team to perform their roles more effectively. So for today's video, we're going to talk about some of the best tank duos in Overwatch and why exactly those duos work so well together. So if you see one of these heroes, you might want to pick the other, or you might want to recommend this to your teammates as well. Now, it's no secret that Diva and Winston is an extremely popular duo right now. This pair is extremely mobile, and because of that, they excel at diving enemy lines better than any other tank duo in the game. Due to this, they make great picks for team comps that also like to dive and play aggressively with heroes such as Genji, Tracer, or Doomfist. However, they can also be a distraction to the enemy team and such an in-your-face threat that they also create a lot of space for high-damage characters such as Junkrat or Pharah to pump out those huge numbers while they focus on securing the kills. Their mobility makes it easy for them to engage as a pair, however they are also able to use that mobility just as easily to return to the back line and provide support and peel for their healers in case of a counter dive. With movement abilities on short cooldowns, the pair can move in tandem throughout the battlefield and do so consistently, and if the two focus fire, even though they have relatively low damage themselves, they can take someone out instantly. They're capable of dealing a ton of damage quickly to squishy targets. Inside the dive, Winston deals area of effect damage to all those nearby, while Diva can spike damage on important targets like supports thanks to her rockets, which even though they've been nerfed, are still pretty strong when combined with everything else. Aside from having high mobility, their defensive capabilities complement each other really well. Defense Matrix provides cover for both of them, while Winston's shield afterwards can create a safe space for Diva to refill the meter on her Matrix. Alternatively, the bubble can create a safe space for Diva to build ult charge to get back into her mech if she's been unmech'd, or Primal Rage can even be used to peel for her if she's gone back into Baby Diva. Unmatched as a duo in the dive, it's likely that Winston and Diva will continue to shine in competitive play for quite some time. Now, if you're not playing a team focused on aggressive dives and you're a fan of the throwbacks to the early days of Overwatch, another pairing is Reinhardt and Zarya. These two work really well together because Reinhardt's biggest weakness is his vulnerability when charging or when attacking targets with his melees, and Zarya's bubble allows him a ton of freedom to play more aggressively. On top of that, Reinhardt is super vulnerable when his shield breaks, and in times when that happens and Reinhardt isn't able to find cover immediately, the bubble can also be used to buy him some additional time to reset. Graviton Surge, Zarya's ult, also pairs insanely well with the Reinhardt. It guarantees Reinhardt can charge and pin a target he wants to, but more than that, it also sets him up to Fire Strike and swing away, dealing huge area damage and likely wiping the entire enemy team. Not entirely unlike pairing Genji's Dragon Blade with a Graviton Surge, or other pretty insane wombo combos. These two tanks create a safe space for poke-oriented team comps that want to deal chip damage to excel, or even deathball compositions focused on playing in a very tight formation as a stack of 6, with Zarya able to shield her teammates with bubbles should they be flanked from behind. Now, Erisa's been seeing a lot more play lately, and people should start to realize just how powerful she can be. At lower rankings, her shields are focused less, and she can maintain almost 100% uptime on them, making it a nightmare for enemy teams to get through the shield and deal meaningful damage. However, one of her greatest assets is using Halt to suck the enemies in and create opportunities for quick picks. Now, when it comes to getting quick picks, there are a few heroes that are as consistently reliable at this as Road Hog, and that's a core function of what makes this duo so powerful. This combo can allow Road Hog to reliably hit hooks and guarantee kills, automatically giving your team a huge advantage. On top of that, this pairing is capable of dealing a lot of pressure to enemy shields with their sustained damage output, which allows your team to slowly trudge forward. With powerful defensive abilities like Take a Breather and Fortify, it can be really hard to kill these two tanks even when Erisa's barrier isn't available. And if that isn't enough, their two ultimates allow Road Hog to mow through enemies when he decides to go whole hog with that damage boost. Erisa herself is usually really weak to dive and incredibly mobile characters that are jumping around or behind her, and Road Hog is great at shutting that down, killing a Tracer or a Genji with a single chain hook. While it's not as reliable in terms of setting up Road Hog for hooks and quick kills, Reinhardt and Road Hog are another classic tank pairing, and this duo focuses on winning shield wars when both teams are running shield tanks like Erisa or Reinhardt. Road Hog on his own can shed through enemy shields, but this comp is usually run when you have a second ally who can also deal a lot of damage, particularly a Junkrat. When playing a setup like this, your goal is to eliminate the enemy shields quicker than they can eliminate yours, and then look for hooks or other kills as soon as the shields drop. The Junkrat can easily guarantee the kill on hook targets with his follow-up damage, allowing your team to press the charge behind the safety of that Reinhardt shield, which you've hopefully kept alive. This slow advance continues behind the shield, and you're ready for another target just 6 seconds later when the hook comes back up off of cooldown, and they still have an ally who's just now rezzing. Between these two tanks, you've also got a lot of crowd control tied to your ultimates that can be staggered in consecutive fights to give your team the edge. Road Hog can melt 3 targets, hit by Earth Shatter with his scrap gun, or push them off of the map altogether, only to have a whole hog ready for the next fight to displace the enemy team, rip through their shields, or possibly even pin supports to the wall and bombard them with shrapnel until they die. If you can get them in a corner, then it's probably game. Now when it comes to explosive tank duos, we couldn't do this video without mentioning Diva and Zarya, one of our favorite combos. While it's not as reliable as a frontline tank, Diva can still make a pretty solid primary tank when she's given the team to support her properly. You can't rely on her defense matrix all the time, but in between DM and the Zarya bubble, Diva can usually keep a lot of uptime on her frontline shielding. Now this duo isn't great if you don't play it super well. If you bubble a Diva who is defense matrixing, then you're both wasting the defense matrix and you're denying the Zarya her charge. So especially at lower levels, make sure that you can play these heroes effectively, but if you're not playing your hero effectively, that's probably the reason you're down there. Zarya is also capable of providing coverage to Diva on aggressive dives, but the real power behind this duo comes from their ability to just wipe teams when you're able to get both of their ults off. A well-placed Graviton Surge can stack up the entire team and let Diva toss her self-destruct directly into the fray, guaranteeing the death of all those stuck inside. And ever since they reduced Diva's self-destruct timer, it's been super easy to pull off this combo. I don't know if you guys remember, but it used to take an entire extra second, and Diva used to get hit by the self-destruct herself, and so it was a real doozy to get off well in a fight. Now, our next duo is a bit more rare, but it still has really specific purposes behind the pair. Diva and Road Hog combined to make 2 incredibly hard to kill tanks, which are focused on creating a front line with the intent of living as long as possible while your team slowly gains an advantage in the fight. Playing this particular lineup all but requires using Ana as a healer since she's the only one that can sustain up that much health with such little shields. But since both tanks are pretty difficult to kill due to defense matrix and take a breather with its damage reduction, Ana's ability to restore huge amounts of health really quickly with a quick grenade and left click means that these 2 tanks will probably never fall down unless they get heavily focused or the Ana dies. On top of that, it also means Ana will be charging nano boosts really quickly so that she can use it on your DPS players, and there's a chance that Ana will be the first one in the match to get the ult. Both these tanks are really tough to kill, and both have the potential to bring themselves back to full health, making for a duo that can pump out tons of damage and seemingly never fall in return. Now, while not a duo, tanks seem to be creeping back into the meta more and more, with teams running 3 or even 4 tanks on certain maps. While we don't want to encourage the quad tank meta to take over ever again, we'll at least give a nod to the power of the triple tank lineup of Reinhardt, Road Hog, and Zarya. Usually played with 2 supports and a Soldier 76, this comp is flexible enough to play hyper-aggressive with the tanky frontline, damage output, and additional sustain offered by Soldier, or as a slow-moving wall of death focused on chipping away at shields and poking down targets with the damage from 76, and grabbing them whenever you take out the shields with a Road Hog hook. The composition as a whole is really well rounded, however for maximum value, you need to make sure there's not a Zen on the enemy team, which can really reduce the survivability of your tanks and in turn cost your team the fight. And in general, as a tank, you want to make sure that the enemy Zen is taken care of quickly. Either make sure that your DPS are focusing them, or switch to something that can deal with them, like a Road Hog. Well, everybody, that's it for our list of some of the best tank pairings inside of Overwatch. Which of these duos have you personally enjoyed playing the most? Or if you're not a tank main, which would you be interested in trying out or just having on your team to support you? Let us know in the comments below. Just so you know, we are still making videos. However, we've been taking a little bit of a break on YouTube to focus on Facebook content. We've partnered with Facebook for Facebook Gaming to make some awesome live streams and videos there. So if you guys ever feel like you're missing out on a little bit of Curios content, there's always an abundance there, but we will be focusing a lot on getting back to quite regular videos here on Overwatch Curios, which this is a part of. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the video. Subscribe for more in the future, and I'll see you next time. Peace.